Well, forgive us for the pun, but backyard beekeeping is creating a lot of buzz in Indiana. I had to use that buzzword, right? It's a fun project for the whole family that helps the environment. And this morning, we're joined by Rob Green, head of the Indiana Beekeeping School, and two of his students, Danielle and Bonnie Booth. Good morning to all of you. How are you?
We're doing fine, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about beekeeping. Why are bees so important? They serve a huge role in the environment.
They do. In fact, it's estimated they contribute between 16 and $20 billion, and that's billion with a B, to our agricultural output each year because of the pollination value. And there's been a lot of bad news about the decline of the honeybee population.
That's why we're really looking for Hoosiers to maybe have a backyard colony right in their neighborhood. Give me an idea of what goes into maybe having bees in your backyard.
Well, there's a lot of training involved. There's a lot of new research that's going into the problem with the honeybees and new techniques into trying to keep them alive. We found out a lot about the problems that were causing the decline of the honeybees, and my effort is to make more and more backyard beekeepers, getting close to crossing the 1,000 mark in new beekeepers across Indiana.
And that's pretty amazing. We have two of those students here. You guys have been learning from Rob. Give me an idea of what goes into learning and then taking care of the bees.
We actually started about 3 years ago. We took Rob's class down in Indiana, and we've been keeping bees ever since. We have 3 hives, and Daniel and I take care of them together.
Now, how hard is it to take care of the hives? Obviously, not getting stung, priority number one.
Not really priority number one. The health of the bees really is priority number one. We've each only been stung one time in 3 years, so.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And besides helping the bee population, do you also get to reap the benefits of the honey?
Oh yeah, it's really good, and it's kind of fun helping the bees.
How hard is it to learn this art? Because it really is an art. My grandfather was a dairy farmer, was just telling you. My dad also helped take care of the bees on the farm besides the cow. They had their own hives. And I remember not only was the honey incredible, but it was a lot of work.
Well, not only is it not that hard with the right training, but Daniel was 11 when he took the class and started becoming a beekeeper. And his mom, Bonnie, she's fairly typical. We probably have as many or more women take the class than men.
Does it matter if you live inside the city versus if you live in a more rural area to become a beekeeper?
Actually, it's suggested that bees that are kept inside city areas are healthier because of the lack of agricultural pesticides in the environment. In places like Paris, France, they've done studies and found that the healthiest bees in the whole country of France are the ones that are kept in Paris. And bees are kept in New York City, on top of Chicago City Hall, on top of the Royal York Hotel in downtown Toronto. Bees do very well in the city, and there's a church near the corner of Rural and Washington where some people from the church took the class, and they keep bees on the roof of the church.
Well, if you're interested about thinking about beekeeping yourself, why don't you head to our Facebook page, WTHR. Also go to Hot Topics. We have a link there, but you guys will be joining us in the next half hour. We'll be talking more about what exactly it takes to care for these little guys. Thanks so much. Welcome back. It is now 8:48 on your Saturday morning. We're once again joined by Rob Green from the Indiana Beekeeping School, along with two of his students, Daniel and Bonnie Booth. Good morning again.
Good morning.
We've had some viewers ask us some questions, but Ron, want to ask you really quickly. We've got a response about the classes you offer. Good news, it starts 2 weeks from this morning.
That's right. It'll start at 8 o'clock sharp, and it'll go actually until 8 o'clock at night. It's a very comprehensive class and a lot of teaching, a lot of hive construction. Beekeepers will be able to assemble their first beehive, which begins to look like this during the class.
And Daniel, you started this really when you were 11 years old. Give me an idea of what we have in the hive. You construct the hive, pull it apart for us, and I should mention no bees, which is good, especially since we're inside. Tell me what you'll find inside the hive.
Mostly just honeycomb and honey right now.
And is this from your own backyard?
This is
one of mine.
This is one of yours. Okay, so go ahead and pull it out for us and explain that once you take the class, what you're really looking for when you pull these out from the honeycomb.
what you want to look for is when the honey is covered over, it's big.
Capped.
It's capped. Sorry. See, that's all honey right there.
And what do you do with it at that point?
We put in an extractor and we spin it, and all the honey kind of spins out and it drains down, and we have a cork and we uncork it and it falls into a bucket.
And that's when you get the sweet stuff
Yes.
from all of the work of the bees. Bonnie, give me an idea of how long it takes for the hive to completely become filled, because I know the bees are all up and down in this entire hive for months, and this is their house.
Sure. In the spring, when there's a good nectar flow, it can fill up pretty quickly in a few weeks. Of course, in the summer it slows down when there's not as many flowers out, but it doesn't take that long. We usually can harvest twice, once in the spring and once in the fall.
And how much honey do you usually get out of one hive?
You can get between 60 and 100 pounds in a good year out of one hive.
So become friends with somebody with a beehive.
That's always a good thing. And of course, pure honey, there's been some scandalous reports about honey in the stores and where it's coming from and how it's been overprocessed or mixed with other things. You know, when beekeepers take the class, though, they're going to learn what to look for inside a hive, and that includes looking at the brood and the health of the bees themselves. They're also invited to come out to my farm as students at any time and get hands-on experience with bees even before they get their own.
Bees are important one more time because
they contribute to our agricultural output between $16 and $20 billion a year.
billion with a B
Billion with a B.
for bees and the buzz.
And you know, that works out to about $500 for every person in this country.
Wow. Wow.
So whether or not you want to become a beekeeper, there are ways that you can support beekeeping operations and encourage people to be more careful with use of pesticides. And of course, if you're interested, you can come to the class. That's all coming up in 2 weeks, and it's right here on Hot Topics.
Yep, right on hottopics.com or WTHR.com, and then head to Hot Topics. You can find out more information about the beekeeping class. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you very much.